to find the video where Nasty C responded to me. The 1 hour video that I made about him does not pop up whatsoever. Only the videos of him responding to me show up, but both of my exposed videos are not on here. These two videos right here are shadow banned. The only way you can find them is through this playlist that I created, which I will leave a link to it in the description below. Or if you go to my channel directly and click on it, but it does not show up in the search bar whatsoever. These two videos right here. So I recommend you guys go check them out if you haven't. Make your own video about Juice and X because they know that they have a big influence and they know that people found out that Juice and X were alive. That would wake them up to everything. I recommend you guys make a video on it and send me the link to your video and I will shout you out. So as you can see, Juice WRLD is wearing a mask. Another reason I wanted to make this video is because his newest project is called The World Is Lucky's. He even had a tour called The World Is Yours. This is so obvious that it's a Juice WRLD reference. It might be one coincidence that the word world is in the name of his project. The fact that he even had a tour with the word world, he's basically putting it in front of our face that he used to be Juice WRLD and then he faked his death. In this song right here, called Sunset, he says he's gonna fake his death. Leave with her, fake my death. He told us straight up, leave with her, fake my death. This lady that he's with looks like she's wearing a mask. And then in this song, he gave us another death reference. How you know I'm dead? Why you hit me up? He said, you know I'm dead, why you hit me up? He even has a song called Good Riddance. And as we all know, Juice WRLD had an album called Goodbye and Good Riddance. So this is too many coincidences, you guys. And then he has a song called Two of You. He's basically saying that there's two of him. And he also says it in this song right here. And of course, he's throwing up the 666. Hey, y'all look crazy. She said lucky is two of you. She said lucky is two of you. So he's basically saying, there's two of you. And he talks about death a lot. He even has a song called Left for Dead. And then his Instagram is Dead Boy Life. So he's basically telling us that he's living a dead boy life because he faked his death. And then in this song, he does another death reference. And of course, he's doing the one-eye symbolism with a red room. This red, it got me dead. He said it got me dead, and then he's pointing a gun to his chin. Another coincidence that I noticed is that this song is from his album called Days Before 3. And this song dropped 38 days before Juice WRLD's death. So that's kind of a riddle right there, days before 3. And then he drops this music video 38 days before Juice WRLD's fake death. As we all know, rapper equals 38, Juice WRLD equals 138, death equals 38. The fact that Lucky mentions death so much, I compared Lucky and death, and I found out that death equals 20, Lucky equals 20 in the same cipher, and then death equals 97, and then Lucky equals 79 in the same cipher. So this is a lot of evidence that Lucky played the role of Juice WRLD, and he put it in front of our face because he even has a song called Role Play. He's basically telling us that he's playing a role. And then another coincidence that I noticed, Juice WRLD has a song called NASCAR, and then Lucky also has a song called NASCAR. And then he has an interview explaining why he disappeared for a bit. And the reason for that is because he was focusing on his Juice WRLD character. Now I'm going to show you guys exactly how they make these realistic bodysuits. They do it in movies all the time. When somebody told me about bodysuits, I didn't believe it until I saw this video right here.
This is special effects legend Kevin Yeager. And here, he's adding some color to the nipple of this face.
So this is how they change the color of their skin. That's why Trippie Redd looks a little bit lighter than Orlando Brown.
He's adding some color to the nipple of this fake bodysuit. But as he moves the airbrush up, he's adding a much more subtle change. You can see the difference between the bottom of the suit and the top part that he hasn't gotten to yet. What this spray paint does is give the suit texture, mimicking the undertones human skin naturally has, and giving the appearance of tiny details like pores. From a life cast picking up on an actor's defining features, to sculpting subtle veins, to mastering a jiggly...
Look at this, bro. This is a perfect example because both of them had a fake fat stomach. It was so obvious that Juice WRLD and Lucky had a fake stomach. There's a reason why everybody was making fun of him. Because his stomach just looks weird. You could tell it's fake. Especially right here. Look at how round it is. It looks exactly like that video that I just showed you. And same thing with Lucky. They put it right in front of our face. This is basically mockery. So yeah, guys, they can fake anything. And you have to think, if they're doing this in movies, what makes you think they're not doing it in real life? You know what I mean? This world is a movie, this is a world stage, and all of these celebrities are actors in the movie.
Stomach. A lot of effort goes into making the bodysuits actors wear look realistic. Warning, some spoilers ahead for Bill and Ted Face the Music. Bodysuits let actors go through physical transformations that they couldn't easily make on their own, from gaining weight to gaining muscle to being pregnant. There are times when bodysuits don't need to be as detailed because they're covered in gaining muscle to being
Tell me that don't look exactly like Lucky's stomach. Look at that, bro. Same exact thing.
pregnant. There are times when bodysuits don't need to be as detailed because they're covered in clothing. Like this suit Kevin Yeager designed for Dana Carvey in an ultimately cut sequence from The Master of Disguise. But because Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter appear shirtless in Bill and Ted Face the Music, both the muscle suits and fat bodysuit created for scenes where they meet future versions of themselves had to be incredibly detailed. To make a bodysuit, you first have to get a life cast of an actor's entire torso.
This is the stretch intervention for it.
Keanu and Alex were covered in purple and green silicone rubbers. The green silicone has an oil in it that ensures it won't pull any of the actors' hairs out of their bodies. The two silicones adhere to each other and are then wrapped in a temporary plaster jacket to hold them together, which will eventually be replaced by a fiberglass shell. That forms the mold that will shape the bodysuits. The fiberglass torso shell is laid up into the silicone impression, which then gets covered in clay for the sculpting part of the process. This is the first stage where attention to every realistic detail is crucial as the team sculpts every muscle and vein onto this mold.
I just wanted to make sure it looked at every angle, like if he lifted his arm or something, that everything was finished beautifully down here, just as much as it was up here.
In early design and Photoshop stages, Alex said he actually wanted the muscular Bill to look like a gorilla. Even if the suit's shape is over the top, the basic anatomy can still be convincing. Sculptor Carol Koch kept a model of the human anatomy in front of her as a reference while chipping away at the muscle suits. Kevin says a common misconception is that when muscles bulge,
It's funny that they showed this little video of SpongeBob because in this episode of SpongeBob, he actually has a bodysuit and it's like a muscle suit. He gets fake muscles and stuff like that. So that would explain why King Von is more muscular than Leonard. I'm going to make a video about SpongeBob and I'm going to show all the times where SpongeBob used a bodysuit because there's so many episodes where they use a bodysuit. And it's funny because I'm going to show a interview of Lucky after this and he mentioned SpongeBob in that interview.
veins will too, but veins actually don't get that big.
I would have them just keep making those veins more subtle. So they would just keep smoothing them out until I could barely see them, or they're there, but they didn't look, like they were worms. And then when I come back with a painting, that also pops them up. So that the combination of a nice sculpture with paint is what makes them look real.
Once they've sculpted the shape of the bodysuits with all their details in clay, they make a mold of the clay suit using a thicker silicone, combine the life-cast torso shell, and then inject foam latex into it. The outer layer of foam is removed and replaced with a skin-colored layer of silicone. What about silicone makes it the right material for human skin? Well, foam wrinkles easily, and silicone can soften those wrinkles. But more importantly, Kevin says, silicone absorbs light the same way human skin does, which
Look at that mask right there, and you guys wouldn't even know that it's fake if you saw it in person.
goes a long way towards making the suits look real. But it isn't until after the suit is sealed and injected with yet more silicone that Kevin can start to paint details on the skin, as plain foam doesn't look very convincing as an outer skin layer. The next thing to nail was skin tone. When trying to nail the color palette of the actor's skin, Kevin started with lighter shades to match Keanu and Alex's complexions. But the prison scene in Face the Music was shot in New Orleans during July, when temperatures reached nearly 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and the scene with the muscle suits was shot in a prison yard. So Kevin knew the actors would be spending a lot of time in the sun. So to compensate, he made the suits a shade darker than their normal skin tone. Or, as Kevin says, he gave the suits a suntan, which which gets to an important point. Color makes a big difference in making the skin look real. Take a look at the muscle suits during a nearly completed stage. The abs pop out not just because of how they're sculpted, but because of how they're colored. The team used an unexpected color combination of red and green paint underneath and around each ab. It's those kinds of surprising details in human skin that only an artist can detect. Let's go back into that blank area of the muscle suit he colored in with an airbrush. Kevin says there's always some red in a person's skin, so he starts with that red base and then adds shades of green and blue, other colors he's observed in the skin.
I use a very tiny little spray, so it only maybe puts out a 1/16 of an inch, a band of color. I do this thing that for some reason I call it wobbly hand, and I just kind of create a kind of wobble, and I also go in and out. So I'm constantly moving my hand like this, and then I'm going in and out, to the thing. It causes little dots, causes little veins, a little breakup.
While that is happening, the left nipple doesn't fully pass until a pinkish brown coat gets sprayed on it. The muscle suits were smooth and hairless to mimic bodybuilders, but Keanu's fat suit had hair. Adding hair to a suit makes it easier to hide skin details, but each hair has to look real, from how it curls to the growth pattern. Kevin punched at least 300 individual hairs into the stomach and chest of Keanu's fake paunch. He made sure to make the hair thicker and heavier as it went down the chest towards the groin. Kevin's work isn't only about painting splotches and punching hairs. You can't have a bodysuit that just looks realistic. It also has to move like a real body. The foam latex beneath the layer of skin-like silicone helps the actors move comfortably. A fat suit like the one Kevin made for Keanu needs to bounce and jiggle naturally. You can see that as Keanu's stomach pops out of his shirt during this shot in the film. So, how do you make it move while also giving it some weight? The classic technique, stuffing the suit with dry lentils. Kevin used them when building the suit for Weird Al Yankovic's 1988 music video, Fat. He later created 2 body pieces to add 40 pounds to Nicolas Cage in 2002's adaptation. This time around, Kevin tried to achieve movement in one of them by mixing lentils and beads into one of his suits. But the actor's sweat actually caused the lentils to sprout. So now, to get the movement and weight without the mess, Kevin simply fills the chest and stomach of a suit with bags of beads.
Kind of jiggles.
With all the skill involved in making these suits look and move like real human flesh, some of the realism is achieved by cleverly hiding the dead giveaways. Makeup artists typically cover up the zippers on the back of bodysuits, but because of that brutal New Orleans heat, they kept the zippers on the muscle suits exposed so the actors could hop in and out of them quickly to cool off. So for a shot like this, the zippers were just CGI'd out.
That goes to show you that they can just CGI anything and we wouldn't even notice.
Were just CGI'd out. Kevin also needed to hide the seams where the suit connects to real skin around the neck and the arms. So when wearing the muscle suits, the 2 actors wore weightlifting gloves, while Keanu's long fake beard hid the neck seam. You will also notice Keanu wearing 2 necklaces in the shots where he has a bigger belly. The lower one was glued down to hide the straps that held the suit up above the chest. For one final touch of realism, Kevin applied a water and glycerin mix to Keanu and Alex's prison bodysuits to give off a persuasively sweaty look. All that effort, from punching hundreds of hairs to wearing a 20 to 25 pound suit in punishing heat, created something realistic, not just for the viewer, but also the actor.
Alex Winter liked to have all that weight because it helped him in his acting, to have enough girth on him to kind of perform better. He was happy with that.
About the other character that he played. So if you guys want to go check that out, go to his channel. I will leave a link to it in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. Drop a like, comment.